In the remote reaches of the world, where the land seems to stretch endlessly into the horizon, nestled a small village named Sabila. Surrounded on three sides by towering mountains that rose like ancient sentinels, and bordered on the fourth side by a mighty river whose waters flowed with the vigor of untamed nature, Sabila was a place of quiet beauty and simple living. The village, with its cobbled streets, quaint houses, and vast stretches of farmland, was home to people who were as resilient as the land they lived on. In this idyllic setting lived two inseparable friends, Timmy and Tina. Both were 12 years old, with eyes that gleamed with the light of curiosity and minds that buzzed with the thrill of adventure. Timmy, with his tousled brown hair and mischievous smile, was known throughout the village for his daring spirit and quick thinking. Tina, with her sharp intellect and calm demeanor, balanced Timmy's impulsive nature perfectly. Together they formed a duo that was both feared and admired by the villagers for their endless escapades. Life in Sabila was peaceful, yet for Timmy and Tina, it often felt too quiet, too predictable. They yearned for adventure, for something that would challenge their wits and test their courage. Little did they know that their wish was about to come true in the most unexpected way. It all began one crisp autumn morning when the village was stirred by the arrival of a mysterious caravan. The villagers, who rarely saw visitors, gathered around to see who these strangers were. The caravan was a group of adventurers, their faces weathered by the sun and wind, their clothes dusty from travel. They had an air of mystery about them, and their presence sent ripples of excitement through the village. Word spread quickly that these adventurers were returning from a failed expedition to find the legendary island of Death. This island was the stuff of legends, a place of immense beauty said to be filled with hidden treasures. But it was also known to be cursed, ruled by magical forces that had kept it hidden from the world for centuries. Those who managed to find the island never returned, their fates sealed by the dark powers that guarded it. Timmy and Tina, always hungry for a new challenge, were captivated by the tales the adventurers told. They listened with rapt attention as the leader of the caravan, a grizzled man with a deep, gravelly voice, described the island in vivid detail: the lush forests, the towering mountains, and the eerie silence that hung over it like a shroud. But it was the mention of the treasures that truly sparked their interest. "We have to find that island," Timmy said, his eyes shining with determination. Tina nodded in agreement, but her practical mind quickly took over. "We should seek Master Wang's permission first," she suggested. Master Wang was the village elder, a wise man who had taught them much about the world and the art of adventure. If anyone could guide them, it was him. The sun was beginning to dip below the mountains, casting long shadows across the village as Timmy and Tina made their way to Master Wang's home. The old master lived in a small cottage at the edge of the village, surrounded by a garden filled with herbs and flowers. As they approached, they found him sitting on the porch, his long white beard glowing in the golden light of the evening sun. "Master Wang," Timmy began, "we've heard about the Island of Death, and we want to find it." The old master's face, usually calm and composed, grew tense at their words. His eyes, which had seen many things in his long life, filled with a deep sadness. "The Island of Death is no place for children," he said quietly. "Many have tried to find it, and none have returned." "But you've always taught us to seek out adventure and uncover secrets," Tina argued gently. "Why are you stopping us now?" With a heavy sigh, Master Wang rose from his seat and motioned for them to follow him inside. The inside of his cottage was filled with books, maps, and relics from his many adventures. He led them to a small, dusty shelf where an old, weathered map lay. "Many years ago," he began, his voice tinged with sorrow, "my own son set out on the same journey you wish to take. He was a brave and skilled adventurer, much like you two. He reached the Island of Death, but he never returned. The magical forces there took his life, and I have mourned him ever since." Timmy and Tina looked at each other, their hearts heavy with the weight of Master Wang's words. But instead of discouraging them, it only strengthened their resolve. "We're not just doing this for ourselves anymore," Timmy said firmly. "We're doing this for your son. We will avenge him and bring back whatever secrets the island holds." Master Wang studied their faces for a long moment, seeing in their eyes the same determination that had driven his son so many years ago. Finally, he nodded. "Very well," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "If you are truly set on this path, I will help you as best as I can." He handed them the old map, a sword, a small bottle of water, and a compass. This sword will help you fight against the magical forces. The water, when a few drops are put into your eyes, will reveal hidden magical powers and make it easier to destroy them. And this compass will always point in the direction of the island of death. With Master Wang's blessing and the tools he had given them, Timmy and Tina set off on their journey, their hearts filled with both excitement and trepidation. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but Timmy and Tina were undeterred. They traveled through dense forests, where the trees towered above them like ancient guardians, their branches whispering secrets in the wind. They crossed treacherous mountains, where the cold bit at their skin and the air was thin and sharp. But through it all, they pressed on, driven by their desire to reach the island of death and uncover its mysteries. As they journeyed, they encountered many challenges. In the forests, they had to outwit wild animals and navigate through the thick underbrush. In the mountains, they faced landslides and avalanches, but they used their wits and the tools Master Wang had given them to overcome each obstacle. One night, as they camped by the river that bordered their village, they looked out over the vast expanse of water that stretched before them. Somewhere out there, beyond the horizon, lay the island of death, waiting for them to find it. "We're almost there," Timmy said, his voice filled with determination. "Yes," Tina agreed. "But we have to be careful. The island is filled with magical forces, and we don't know what we'll be up against." With that thought in mind, they continued their journey, following the compass as it led them closer and closer to the island. The weather grew harsher as they approached the sea, with storms raging and winds howling around them. But Timmy and Tina were undeterred. They had come too far to turn back now. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they reached the shore. The sea stretched out before them, dark and foreboding, with waves crashing against the rocks. And there, in the distance, they could see the faint outline of the island of death. "This is it," Timmy said, his voice barely audible over the roar of the waves. "We've found it." The journey to the island was far from over. The sea that separated them from their destination was treacherous, with violent waves and powerful currents that threatened to drag them under. But Timmy and Tina were determined to reach the island, no matter the cost.